Rise and shine, everybody. It's time to wake and bake with Craig Reed and Griff Martin.
It's a Stone Roadie show. Take one, roll one, and burn one down. So roll 'em if you got 'em. Action. Alrighty, fellow earthlings in the Stone Roadie dimension. Looky here, looky here. Hey, it's Monday morning. It's November the 1st. And it's another Wake and Bake, the Morning Buzz. Well, my name's Craig Reed, a.k.a. the Stone Roadie. And this is my co-host, the rocket scientist, Griff Martin. So, Griff, I have nothing. So you can just go ahead and roll with it there, buddy.
Well, what it is Craig just got some new weed, and he said it's really good. And he says, man, I'm too stoned to do the podcast.
I got brain cells dying faster than I can count.
Well, right as we speak, because this is Saturday evening, we're taping it early. From Monday morning, the Saturday night special is going on as we speak right now, and I was watching Craig. You guys have already seen it by now, in his Superman suit, and he tried to put that Superman suit on. Well, he did put that Superman suit on Leon, and Leon wasn't having any of that shit. and that was kind of funny. I thought that was hilarious. But yeah, poor old Leon had to wear the damn Superman suit. But anyway, yeah, this is going to be a pretty informative little podcast here. You guys hang on at the end, because we're starting the Heather Langley auction of her 3 items that she donated and gave to me at the Monument event. So at the tail end of this video, we're starting the auction, and I go over everything that's in the auction, which includes this book right here. We've got 5 of these, which 2 of them have already been sold. So there's 3 left. So if you guys want to get this book, hang on to the end at the auction at the end, and you can see how to get it. It's signed by Gene. Gene Odom wrote the book, and Mitch Scooby bought 5 of them to help out with the Forgotten Survivors. And in all of this money that we're collecting, we're going to get to the 5 survivors that we kind of help take care of with you guys' donations and things that you send in and auctions that you win. And just like the baseball jersey that Pete Semino donated, and in all the things that you guys contribute, we give the proceeds to the 5 survivors, and you guys know who they are. I name them in the auction at the end. So also reminds me, Mark Frank is donating a belt buckle, right, Craig?
That's what he told me. He said he had it in the mail, and it's one of these. You know what they look like.
It's just like, that's Craig's right there. So when we get that, we'll auction that off. Yeah, not showing up too good, and yeah, it looks better back there, I guess. But it's up against that red background too. There you go. Yeah. Yeah, and I was talking to Craig, and I was like, back then when you got that, how did you get that buckle? And Craig said, well, I think Ronnie gave it to me. And he said Gary didn't ever wear a belt buckle. Nobody ever wore a belt buckle but Ronnie, and so they all gave them to you, right, Craig? And
Gary, I still got a couple of Gary. When we played the Texas or the Houston rodeos, they always gave the band a really one of them rodeo belt buckles, and Gary always gave. I've got 2 of them that Gary gave me that he didn't want. He didn't wear. He don't wear big belt buckles, and Alan didn't wear belt buckles either. So, Alan or Gary, I don't know. I guess Ronnie had these. I really don't remember exactly, but I don't know who gave them.
Yeah, because John Reinheimer had 3 of them for sale at the Monument, And I was asking Craig, how the hell do you know if they're an original Lynyrd Skynyrd belt buckle that the band guys had? And I said, look on the back and tell me what it says on the back so everybody can know if they've actually got an original belt buckle that the crew had. So what's it
Yeah,
say, Craig?
it says 1977 Pacifica MFG, Los Angeles, California. Pacific.
So I'm pretty sure that the one Mark Frank has probably has that same thing on the back too. As
Yeah, I
we'll
don't think
see.
anybody's ever counterfeited these. Of course, you never know.
Yeah, you never know. Those ones that Reinheimer had, they look pretty damn old. They look like they've been circulated quite a bit. And but speaking of that book of jeans, every now and then I like to read a little excerpt out of a book, and I figured I'd go ahead and read a little bit, just not much, just a couple paragraphs out of this book that we're auctioning off for Gene. It's Gene's book, and yeah, about middle ways of the on page 97 says. The story of rock and roll touring has been told so many times about so many different groups that it doesn't bear retelling here. But anyone who'd like at least a general sense of what it was like for Lynyrd Skynyrd, you should see the movie Almost Famous, whose writer and director Cameron Crowe got to know Lynyrd Skynyrd, the Eagles, Led Zeppelin, and the Allman Brothers Band while traveling with them as a writer for the Rolling Stone magazine. Except for the details, it's all there in a nutshell in the story of a fictional band that Crowe based on the groups he followed. Interviewed about the film, Crowe described the late Ronnie Van Zant as a honorable guy, and very fittingly, the Skynyrd song he chose for the soundtrack was Simple Man. Almost Famous is one of several movies that have featured songs by Lynyrd Skynyrd in Forrest Gump. The Jenny character ponders suicide with Freebird playing in the background. And, turn the page, Freebird was in the final song on the soundtrack of Duets in Outside Providence. Freebird plays in the background while a group of teenagers mourn the death of a friend. In Con Air, a prison escapee watches his fellow convicts dancing to Sweet Home Alabama and says, define irony, it's a bunch of idiots on a plane dancing to music of a band who died in a plane crash. Tuesday's Gone was played in Boys Don't Cry, and that smell was a very appropriate choice for the Cocaine Chronicle Blow. That smell also was used on television on a Saturday Night Live sketch in which Will Ferrell portrayed fact-challenged presidential candidate George W. Bush, quoting the poet Lynyrd Skynyrd for the verse, "Ooh, that smell. Can't you smell that smell?" in regard to the 2000 vote counting mess in Florida. So that's just one little excerpt out of the book there. So you guys, if you want to get this book signed by Gene, right there is his signature, you can email me or just watch the auction at the end, and then you'll get instructions on how to do that. So that being said, a lot of great comments and questions and things that we always get. And since I've been to the monument, I wrote down about 15 of them here that we can talk about. So another thing I wanted to talk about in a serious note is back on podcast 71. I went to Muscle Shoals and I met for the first time a guy who's become a really good friend and probably one of the nicest guys that I've ever met. He gave me a tour of Muscle Shoals. Him and a lady named Tammy were nice enough to show me around there and take me to some recording studios and things like that and tell some stories. go to podcast 71 and listen to Brian Bodkin. Now, this guy is he's in somewhat of a dilemma right now. He is basically on his way to UAB for a heart transplant. I was telling that to Craig. I said, man, Brian just texted me, said he's in an ambulance and he's on his way to UAB, which is, I guess, a heart facility where they're very educated in heart transplants, and he's going to be waiting there until he gets a heart that matches him. And so I thought it'd be kind of cool to follow Brian while he goes through the process of getting this heart transplant. And the reason being, not only that, we care about Brian, but it's what Ed King went through. A lot of people, they know Ed King. Some people might not know that Ed King had a heart transplant, and that's in the later years of his life. How old do you think Ed was when he got that heart transplant, Craig?
Oh gosh, I couldn't guess. No.
But he got, I think, Ed might have got like 15 good years out of that heart. And Anna Ethington, she handles the supportsurvivors.net page that I'm always talking about. You guys go visit. And she has been told a couple times that she may be in the same boat coming up here. She's been doing pretty well as far as hanging in there and not needing a heart transplant. But I put those two guys together, and they've been talking. But she talked to Ed King quite often about his heart transplant because, she was also looking at having to get one herself. So you guys send out lots of prayers for Brian Bodkin, and pray that he hangs in there and his heart holds out long enough for him to get this heart transplant. And, of course, somebody has to die to give you a heart. So that's the sad part about it. But, when the person does go, at least that heart that they are giving up is going to like one of the nicest guys I think I've ever met. Brian is a top-notch guy. Don't know of anybody that's ever had a bad thing to say about him. And he's just, he would give you the shirt off his back, this guy. And if you want to see how great a guy he is, go to podcast 71 and check out Brian Bodkin and watch that podcast and say a prayer for that guy and his wife, Kim, because they're going to be going through some pretty rough stuff coming up here. So just wanted to mention that. Greg, you had a visitor come by the other day at the end of the Saturday night special, old Tony.
Yeah, Tony.
He brought you a bunch of stuff, didn't he?
Brought me all kind of stuff, man. What is it? Oh yeah, I got a bottle of fresh maple syrup.
That stuff's expensive right there.
Yeah.
I mean, it ain't cheap.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got a little bottle of that. I can't afford a big old bottle.
That's
of
a cool bottle too.
Yeah, it is. Probably came out of Canada.
I don't know. He's been traveling all over the country here lately.
Then he gave you a 12 string or something, didn't he?
Yeah, it's a God. Epiphone, yeah, 12-string acoustic. Nice, real nice. He got it at some garage sale or something. Brought it here and said, "Can you tune this?" So he came yesterday. I thought, I got that guitar tuned. He goes, "Give it to somebody that plays." I go, "Shit, I'll just keep it."
Maybe you should take some lessons.
Do what?
Take some lessons. You're never too
my
old.
my hand. I play with it. I've strung. No, this hand don't work that good. I mean, I still mess around with it once in a while.
What the hell is that you got? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Didn't you say Tony made that and painted it?
He painted it and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that's got a
Got
little blood
blood
coming
on the
from his
ears.
ear. Yeah,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
which people say that was not real. That was makeup.
And then he gave me that ice hat I had on at the beginning of the podcast. He gave me that.
Man, if you wear that ice hat
Oh,
around where I live, they'd be running for the hills.
oh, he gave me a bunch of these. Gave me a whole pack of these damn rolled up joints.
Pre-rolls, they call those
Yeah.
pre-rolls.
This is what is it? White widow? Yeah, I think that's what this was. Yeah. 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 I think that's about it.
Yeah, man, what a guy! What a guy gives you all those
It was
gifts.
something else. I don't know.
And then TP just sent you a bunch of stuff, didn't
Yeah,
she?
I showed all the stuff TP sent me. Yeah, last night. Yeah, she sent me all kind of stuff. She spent $35 on postage to send that stuff.
Well, you got to keep the
She
Stone
sends all
Roadie
the stuff
happy.
I like. I love all that soap she sends me, and that walnuts. Those are good walnuts. And
And she always sends you the
oh yeah,
coffee.
she sent some apple butter, pecan apple butter. Boy, that stuff's good, man. God Almighty.
Oh, these people trying to get you fat, Craig. They're challenging you,
Oh
sending you
yeah.
syrup and apple butter and stuff like that. But,
Yeah.
all right. Well, anything you got new you want to talk about, or anything on your
No,
mind?
I really don't. I just my sister's in that old nursing home, and I'm gonna go over there every couple weeks or something and run the. She
You the
wants to do a
DJ?
dance every couple weeks, and I went out and I didn't have a good portable CD player, so I got on Facebook Marketplace and bought one. So yeah, so I'm gonna
You're
go.
just a kid. You're just a kid to those guys down there, Craig.
Oh God. Well, you know what? The one guy in there, the black guy, he was discoing. I goes, man, you're an old disco dancer, aren't you? He goes, yeah. He's only sick. He's only 76. And I said, how long have you been in here? And he goes, quite a while. He
Oh,
goes,
he's a jitterbug.
yeah, but yeah. He
Yeah,
goes,
there's a hotel across the street from me, and it's just a bunch of handicapped people, older retirement handicapped people, and they all have walkers and wheelchairs, and they're rolling. I try to keep the sidewalk clean so they can get down the sidewalk okay. And there's one lady, and she's in this power chair, and I see her over in the lot, and this is like a sand lot that somebody neglects and they don't keep it clean. And she's over there in that damn power chair pulling weeds, man. I'm like, what the hell are you doing, man? And she goes, I said, I got to feel like I'm useful. And I said, well, you're going to get stuck out there. And she goes, yeah. She goes, it's pretty sandy in here. So I'm kind of keeping my eye on her because, she can't even walk and she's in the damn power chair pulling weeds over there. What a crazy lady, but more power to her. I just had a friend who had a stroke, so I know what what it's like. And of course, Mark Frank, he had the stroke. I was talking to Mark Frank about my buddy. I said, hey, can I get my buddy to give you a call sometime? Because he's, having a hell of a time. And Mark's like, yeah, man, sure, anytime. Let him call me. And so, Mark, if you're listening, I'm going to give that guy your number. And, a guy like you that's been in a plane crash, had a stroke, what an inspiration, and he needs inspiration. So, all right, well,
yeah,
I'll just go
my
over these
buddy.
comments. Go
Well,
ahead, Craig.
my buddy Sammy. I told everybody last night I was looking for a bottle of that Crown Royal chocolate, and Sammy got me a bottle and brought it over to me. And I was drinking it on last night on the podcast, that and some Stella beer, and God, I was drinking everything.
And then Tony came by, and then you really got smashed.
Oh, then yeah, after the podcast, Tony said, "What are you drinking there?" And then yeah, I haven't felt very good today.
Man, you ain't 24 no more.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's go to these comments real quick here, and then we'll cut you guys loose on the auction. Stay tuned for the auction. Some really cool items in there that Heather Langley donated, and one of a kind stuff that you can't buy at the store. And they make some nice Christmas gifts for Lynyrd Skynyrd fans. Oh, let me see here. Donald Johnson commented, had a great time at the monument. Best time I have had in a long time. Awesome meeting the plane crash survivors. And yeah, there was uh, quite a few of them there. Jim Brace. This is the first time I ever met Jim Brace, which is a cool guy. I didn't want to do like a full on interview with him. I just wanted people to see who he was, and he was a lighting guy, and him and Mark Howard were roommates, and what a cool dude he is. Also, if you'll notice in the podcast and on the road with Griff Martin at the Monument, Mark Howard's talking about a new podcast he's going to come out with, Craig. So we'll have to.
Yeah, I saw that on your
Yeah.
thing. I saw him talking about that. Yeah.
I think he's going to be kind of like going outside and messing around. It's going to be kind of like following Mark Howard around out in the yards type stuff. And he's a
Yeah,
character.
that's what he said. Yeah. Yeah, just I'm moving it outside.
He's quite a character. And then old
Oh,
Rick
yeah.
Walker, he's the guy who came up to me and I go, and here we have the jackass, which he's the guy who was cracking on second helping and saying something about he was drinking, and he didn't evidently he didn't like something about second helping, and he made a nasty comment. I said, well, you're just a jackass. Anyway, when he was making that comment, I guess his wife told him, said, don't do it, don't do that, and he said, I'm gonna do it, and he did it, and she said, you're gonna regret that tomorrow. And he said, then I got up the next day and saw Griff was attacking me, and he said I felt bad. So he ended up sending Gene a donation, and then I sent Gene another donation, and then he and Gene hooked up together and had lunch. And since then, Gene and I have both met him, and he is a really cool guy. He is not a jackass at all. He just had a couple drinks and he had a loose tongue. And we're all guilty of that sometimes. So, yeah, old Rick Walker, cool guy. Uncle Fats, guy I haven't ever heard of before. This is the first time I heard of him. He said, I didn't want this episode to end. It was a good evaluation of what happens at the monument. Wasn't it pretty close, Craig? Every time you go there, man, it's just
It was, yeah.
it's just always something new going on. Somebody, walking around there that's just cool as hell, and you don't know who they are until you meet them. Like, the guy that was in the fraternity that ended up. Did you see that part, Craig? The guy who gave Ronnie and Gene a ride around and ended up getting the poker chips, and
No, I didn't make
yeah,
it through the whole thing yet.
that was really cool. And I really believe that those are the poker chips that were on the plane, because it was given to Ronnie in the fall of '77, right before the plane crash. So
They look like what I remember.
well, he didn't have any of the poker. I showed the poker chip that I
Yeah,
found.
that what you showed me that looked like
Yeah, is
what
that what you guys were playing with that you remember? I had to be,
that I
because I found it
remember.
in I found those blue ones in the dirt, and then that white one Paul Conley gave to me. Nathan Smith. It was great to hear from the pilot's son. I always thought since they dumped the fuel, it saved lives, which they didn't dump the fuel there, Nathan. Um, and I've got kind of like a new theory that I'm thinking happened. When I saw uh, the pilot's son over there talking to David McCreary, is the pilot's son, talking to Mark Frank. And I was like, who's this guy, Mark? This is David McCreary, the pilot's son. I'm like, well, that's crazy. You wouldn't think those guys would get along. But in my opinion, Mark Frank, he does not believe it's the pilot's fault because he swears up and down he saw fuel dumping out of that right engine. And it kind of fits, it kind of fits with the narrative that the pilots didn't know they were running out of fuel. So I kind of have a feeling that's what happened, that they didn't know they were running out of fuel and it was spitting out of that right engine because Mark said he saw it. And seeing him with the pilot's son, kind of makes me think that. Also, that pilot's son, there's not everybody's happy with him. And somebody mentioned in here who they thought it was that didn't like him being there. And I can say that was Gene Odom. I believe Gene Odom gave the guy a bunch of shit, which, Gene was pissed off at his dad. They got in a big argument with him before they took off in the plane, said he was going to stab the tire. And McCreary told him, if you do that, you're going to jail. So Gene wasn't real happy with the pilot's son. Being there, but it wasn't his fault. I mean, he was 13 years old. But what an exclusive, right, Craig, to be able to talk to McCreary's son
Yeah,
at the
that's
monument.
yeah.
And he's a really nice guy. But his wife said he's got some hate mail from some people. So, it's not his fault, that the plane crashed.
Yeah.
He's looking for closure too, just like everybody else,
Yeah,
But
I'm sure
guy's
he's
got a
not
set of
happy.
balls.
I'm sure he's not happy his dad died in that thing.
Oh yeah. He's part of
Yeah,
the
it's
Lynyrd
not his
Skynyrd
fault.
story. Yeah, he's
Like blaming Chad for something I did.
right. Yeah, guy can't
doesn't
help
make
it.
much sense.
He lost his father, in a plane crash, regardless of his father, if it is his fault or not. Maybe his piloting skills, saved a bunch of people because 6 people dying out of as many people that were on that plane. Who knows what the guy did? So
I don't think he had a lot of control of that plane. Once the Johnny engine, don't you lose all your avionics and everything?
well,
Not
you're
much
definitely you
control.
lose your flaps and everything because it's all hydraulic and that pony motor, controls the hydraulics and stuff. So that was just,
Yeah, he didn't have
dead
much
weight.
control of it.
Yeah. And I know a lot of times when people try to land a plane in a flat clearing, that thing will cartwheel, and if it starts cartwheeling, and that's not good either. So
Yeah,
even though,
you showed the field where that right there next to the monuments, that chicken field right there. That's probably the field they were shooting for.
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That was because
That was
that's
cool.
right.
I've
Yeah,
never.
that's right ahead of the.
I always thought the direction, because I asked them when we were out there and they said the plane was going that way. So I always thought it was pretty close to where the monument is, where they were.
Yeah, it's less than a mile. It's
Yeah.
actually a lot closer than people think, and I didn't really want to say how close it was because people try to cut through those woods. And
I
what's
saw
that sign? What's that sign?
I saw that sign said, survivors, if you've made it this far or something, like we send a search party out every Thursday. Leave some DNA samples or something.
Yeah, because people cut through the woods and try to find. I mean, even if you
You get lost out there. That's dense stuff out there. That's when I was out there, I was going, how in the hell did they find
well,
it?
you wouldn't even know that you're standing at the crash site unless you know where it's at anyway. It's because it's not marked. You
No,
know,
it's just it's
you need
just
a guide to take you out there to show you, hey, this is it right here. You
yeah,
know,
yeah. There's nothing out there to market. Yeah.
yeah, there's nothing you know, so you can go tromping back there, but you won't know you're there.
Even that tree that everybody signed and stuff is gone.
Yeah, it got blown down in a hurricane. So,
Yeah, there's nothing out there.
uh, then a guy, Curtis Boise. Great episode. Hey, have you guys ever tried to get Ricky Medlock on?
No,
Well, I can
he
tell you
wouldn't
that ain't going
come
to happen,
on.
I don't think.
He wouldn't come on here.
No,
No
it's about as
way. No way would he come on
if
here.
he came on here, Johnny Van Zant would come on here, which neither one of them are going to come on here.
No.
You know, they ain't got a lot of time for Craig Reed. You know, Craig Reed's selling funeral brochures from Gary Rossington, which, you know, honestly, that funeral brochure, if people only knew that Craig was just trying to get more money than anybody ever got for Elvis's funeral brochure is all it was.
Man, you know, I would be, you know, I don't understand why anybody get mad about that. I'd be if I'd get $800 for my funeral brochure, I'd be laughing in my grave. Yeah, that's funny.
I think if Gary was around now, let's say he faked his death and he came back and he goes and you go, "Hey Gary, were you pissed off about me selling your funeral brochure?" He'd probably laugh his ass off and go, "How much I guarantee you he'd go, "How much did you get for it?"
We need to play that tape again that you got of me and Gary's phone
Yeah.
conversation. He said, "I'm not." People. He said, "People say that you know that people are complaining about your podcast because he says it's not me." He says,
Yeah.
"He said I watch it. I like it, man. I'm your favorite fan."
Yeah, I'm your
He
biggest
said,
fan.
"He said I'm not afraid of anything you'd say about me. You know." That was
Yeah,
cool.
you know, Gary, he had a sense of humor. One thing he was a witty guy, man. I mean, I didn't know him, but I seen interviews with him, and I did get to meet him, and you know, he was definitely a witty guy.
You never know when that might have worked. That I'd could have got over $5,000 for his funeral
Yeah,
brochure, man. That would have been fucking great. Yeah.
it's just you know at the right place
If
at
it
the
just,
right time.
you know, you never know. If you don't try, you don't know. You know.
No, yeah. Well, you still have plenty of them to keep trying if you want. Because I think
I've
it
sold
was
two of them, and all the money went to Mark Howard for his leg stuff.
somebody said they were at the funeral and they saw you digging in the trash. I said, "Get the hell out of here."
Oh God.
He wasn't digging in the trash. He was just going around on the tables and collecting them.
There was a table right there at the thing, and you know, I waited till everybody was outside, and then I went and picked up a few.
Yeah, I mean,
You
what's wrong
know,
with
I
that?
gave everybody the opportunity to get what they wanted, and then I went and grabbed a dozen.
I mean, it's not like you didn't frickin' damn near grow up with the guy.
Oh yeah,
You know, you mean you frickin' guys were like brothers. You
oh
know,
yeah,
you
we
do
were good
whatever the hell
friends,
you
man. We
want,
were
right?
we were good friends.
You nobody can
I
say
I
they were.
stayed I lived at Gary's house out there in the on out there, you know, in Mandarin. I stayed there with him and Martha for a couple weeks.
Other than Gary's wives, nobody can say they were closer to him than you were and his kids.
No,
I
me and
mean,
Gary were close. No, we were real
yeah,
close. I went. Gary asked me to go to Bill Graham's funeral with him. You know,
yeah, I remember you guys flew out there for. And
yeah, we
speaking of
were
that,
close.
another guy who was like really close to Gary was Joe Crimp. And before I got on this podcast with Craig, I was on the phone with Joe Crimp. And I told Joe, I said, man, I got to go. I got to get on the podcast. And I said, now, Joe, the ball's in your court, man. Give me a date for the oak tree you're in my way on the road with Griff Martin. He goes, all right, Griff, I'll do it. And I said, now don't make me get a hold of your wife and have her do it, because Alta, she'll set a date for you. So we are going to do that. I'm going to try to get Derek Hess, and it actually was not an oak tree; it was a telephone pole. But Ronnie couldn't write telephone pole. You're in my way. And Gary was hitting oak trees too. So we're going to take Joe Crimp, who was in the car with Gary Rossington when he hit in the Gran Torino, when he hit the telephone pole and ended up in somebody's carport in the middle of the night, and almost got, I think it might have got hauled off to the hospital by the police or something. I forget where they went, but I think we told the story when Joe came on the podcast that one time. It was like a 4-hour podcast, wasn't it, Craig?
Oh, God, yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what number that was. If anybody knows the number of the Joe Crimp interview, leave it in the comments, and then we'll talk about it on the next one. So that's going to be an on the road with Griff Martin coming up. Yeah, stay tuned for that. Yeah, Michelle Lovett said she loved the video, which, that video, you got to see the bands, you got to see the people, meet some of the people that are out there. You got to see, a visual of what it's like, going around at that monument. And if you guys have never been there, you really need to try to attend. But I do like to go out there with a video camera for the people that can't go and show you what it's like. And Craig, before he went out there, he was kind of thinking, well, how good can it be? It's not even on the crash site. And then when you went out there, it was like a whole different, it was like closure for you, wasn't it, Craig, to get to go out
it was
there?
cool. Going back there, them guys taking us back there in the four-wheelers. That was a trip, man.
Remember when you were standing there and you were told by Latrell Metter, and he said, right here, Craig, is where they brought you guys and had you waiting for the pickup truck.
Oh yeah, back by the
by the past the creek, and you looked around and you went, so I was here before, right here, waiting on them to take me to the hospital. This is where I was, and that's kind of when it hit you right there. I remember that's when it hit you.
I don't know if I went I don't think I went in the helicopter. I think those people went to Jackson. Yeah, they probably took me in. I don't remember. I was unconscious.
I remember, I think it was Mark Frank was riding in the truck, and they were like taking him to the hospital in the truck. I think it was Mark Frank. Mark, if you're watching, man, let me know in the comments. And he was saying the guy was hauling ass in the truck, and Mark was thinking, I'm going to die in this truck. I survived a plane crash, and I'm going to get killed in a truck wreck trying to go to the hospital. Man, slow down,
I heard Gary was screaming bloody murder. They had him in the back of a truck, and he was screaming.
Really?
He had a lot of broken bones, yeah.
Yeah, so, Dwayne Easley, he's another guy that's always out the monument, and, you can ask him any question you want, and he'll tell you. So, Edward Harvey, hey, Griff, cool video. Good to see survivors. I bet, let me see. He liked the interview with David McCreary. Not a lot of people have even seen David McCreary, laid eyes on the son of the pilot. So that to me is an exclusive, a Stone Roadie show exclusive, getting an interview with the son of the pilot. So yeah, that was cool there. Edward. Really did enjoy that interview with him myself. And I probably would have got a little bit more with him, but his wife it looked like she got some charcoal on her hand and wiped it all over her face, and the ants were biting her, and she's like, "Man, I got to get out of here." So we had to cut it short and wrap it up. But yeah, Edward Henry, yeah, cool. Shelman Brandon, loved the singer for Lone Star Skynyrd. Yes, Stephen Naylor, man, that guy. He does it. His band is getting nothing but better. Those guitar players too. I don't know if you watched any of the video I shot, Craig, but I used that DJI Pocket 3 for the sound, and then I synced my Sony camera with that DJI together, where I could walk around with that Sony, and I did it all in the editing, where it all sounded like it was coming from one sound source, almost like it was plugged into the board. So I got some pretty good footage of Lone Star Skynyrd and some of those other bands, and yeah, they've always got some great bands out there. And Lone Star, which is actually, their chosen house band, are nothing but getting better, man. They're really good, doing a good job. I think even the Jackass, Walker, you like that, huh? I know he liked them, man. He even told me they were good. So yeah, so that's about it with all the questions there, Craig. And I think that we can go ahead and jump into the auction here at the end. And you guys seriously consider making a bid. We're going to start those Heather Langley jewelry items off at $100 and see where they go. I think they're well worth more than $100. But take a look at them, and you guys, if you need to ask any questions or anything, the information's on the auction, and anything you need to know, just email me. So, got anything else, Craig?
No, I guess see you later, alligator at the wild crocodile, and here we go with the video. We're out of here. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.
Okay, let's get this auction started here. We've got, to start with, 3 of Gene Odom's books left, which is signed by Gene, right there. And we're asking $30. That's basically not an auction. It's just we're selling the books. Now, Craig's friend Sammy, he bought one for $50, and Pete Semino wants one for $50. Pete, I know you've called me a couple times. Man, I'm slammed with phone calls. If you have questions for me about address or anything, go to edwg59@gmail.com. Anybody else wanting a book for $30? edwg59@gmail.com. I'll tell you how you can get one. Don't accept Zelle or any of the internet payment stuff. Just check, money order, or cash. And $30 for the book. Now let's break into these Heather Langley jewelry items here. Got letters of authenticity for all of these pieces of jewelry. And okay, to start off with, here we got a really cool keychain. And it's made out of airplane crash metal. It's got rivets in it, holding it the metal together. The description on the letter of authenticity for the keychain, the date that it was made was October 1st, 2025. Keychain made out of wreckage from Lynyrd Skynyrd aircraft, measures approximately 37 millimeters by 67 millimeters, has 3 original rivets in the triangle pattern holding 2 layers of wreckage together. Markings, front side is stamped LS. And there's your letter of authenticity right there. And I'll post a picture of the keychain, which this is the keychain in my hand right here, and you'll see the picture coming up there. Okay, next in line, the letter of authenticity for the resin pick. And this is the letter of authenticity for the resin pick. And the resin pick looks like this, which what it is, it has a piece of airplane crash metal in it and a fleck of white paint, which was on the outside of the plane, and a piece of the Hell House dock. And it's poured with resin around it, and it's on a keychain, which you could use as a necklace as well. And it reads, material used, wreckage from the Lynyrd Skynyrd airplane, white paint chip from the wreckage, a piece of wood from Hell House dock, and an epoxy resin for jewelry. Special thanks go out to Gene Odom for obtaining the wood. And here's your letter of authenticity, and I'll put up a picture of the piece of jewelry there for you to see as well. And then the last piece is going to be the Freebird pendant, which I have one of those right here that I traded a Hell House painting to Heather Langley for mine about 10 years ago. And I really like mine, which it looks like this right here. And you'll see the picture that I post up on the screen there for you. And the letter of authenticity reads, it was created on October 7th is when she made it. Materials used, wreckage from the Lynyrd Skynyrd plane, which intact white paint on the head of and the tail. So it's got little bit of paint on it, so which is pretty cool. White paint on the head and the tail. Yeah, so that's the pendant of the Freebird pendant. All have letters of authenticity, and we're going to start the bidding out at $100 and see where it takes us. These pieces of jewelry here, some folks might think, oh, that's barbaric or whatever. It's no different than a Civil War bullet or something that you'd find from the Civil War. I mean, this is history. This is history of Lynyrd Skynyrd. Yeah, it's plane crash wreckage, but it's part of Lynyrd Skynyrd history, and and I enjoy my piece. I think to me it gives me good luck. I've had nothing but good luck since I've been wearing mine. So these make pretty good Christmas gifts. So you guys contact me at edwg59@gmail.com to start the bidding. And if you have any questions or need to see the pictures a little better or whatever, I'll send them to you. And happy bidding. Appreciate it. Oh, by the way, the books, Gene Odom's books, were donated by Mitch Scooby. He paid for them and gave to me at the monument to sell them for the plane crash survivors. And all of these funds that are coming from this go to the plane crash survivors: Paul Welch, Mark Frank, Mark Howard, Gene Odom, and Leslie Hawkins. They're split up equally amongst them. And Craig wants to get that money to him before January because of his taxes. So we're going to be closing this auction out pretty fast. Thanks for watching and happy bidding.
Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you. Keep token until then.